everyone! In this video, we will show you a Viewe interface with a desktop operating system environment as the background. We designed this UI interface for smart screens with a resolution of 400/8800. The mobile phones and computers we usually use are all desktop operating systems. We are already accustomed to this kind of human-computer interaction interface of operating system. Therefore, we also designed a Viewe interface similar to the desktop operating system for the smart screen development board. You can see that our UI interface also has a taskbar, like the operating system. Then there is a desktop background. There are two icons placed on the desktop background. We can enter the next episode interface through the icons on the desktop. Of course, we can also operate the next episode through the taskbar. We designed a start icon in the taskbar. We can click it to open a start menu. Then close. Then reopen. It is a dynamic display function. Click it and it will flash with the click. Then in the lower right corner is the time, date, and a touch keyboard. Click once to open the corresponding calendar. The small icon next to the calendar is a small touch keyboard. You can click on this keyboard to perform some input operations. Of course, this is just a simple example UI. If you need to correspond to some actual operations, you can make further designs. Further optimization design based on your application scenarios. What we provide here is a Viewe that demonstrates the function. Not many application scenarios. We mainly made an icon display. This UI was designed using EZ Studio. Let's take a look at the design environment of EZ Studio. We used EZ Studio to design the UI interface for our 400/8800 display. There are a few main points to note. The resolution of the display in our settings is 400/8800. Then we can start designing the Viewe interface according to the size of our display. You can see that our UI interface contains many small controls. If you don't have much experience in designing Viewe interfaces, it is recommended to design a simpler UI interface first. The so-called simplicity is to have as few controls as possible. Keep it simple. Then gradually increase the number of controls and design styles in it. As a whole, we include a window. Then all pop-up menus are implemented through panels. In addition, we used some existing controls. For example, the keyboard, including the calendar. We can run this UI interface on the computer. There are some differences between running on a computer and running on a touch screen. You need to transplant it to the development board to find these differences. Especially when touching, it will be different from our computer operation. Touch sensitivity when touching. Including the touch time and our double click and click will be significantly different. Therefore, there will be a big difference between operating on a computer and actual operation. After designing the Viewe interface, you can generate code, then transplant it to the development environment of our entire development board. What we are showing you here is a development environment for this 7-inch screen development board. We used Arduino for development. the entire Arduino code. In fact, it is a process from the bottom-level driver to the interface addition. It can be said that the interface code is a part that is logically separated from the underlying driver. We just need to know the corresponding position. Just add Arduino interface code. Just put the UI interface in the corresponding position. That is the location of UI_init. Put it into UI_init function. The interface will load automatically. If you don't have too many advanced access needs, just load the interface. If you need to access the widgets in the interface, there will be many small controls in the interface. For example, our calendar widget. If you need to set a date, the calendar widget can be processed with global parameters. We can access and set it in the code. The same treatment is applied to other controls. As long as we do a global processing, you can access and set. Of course, the UI library used by the entire interface is LVGL. We can set some more detailed content through LVGL corresponding programming. Although we can use UI design tools to design a more beautiful UI interface, but the well-designed UI interface, often further interactive processing is required. For example, some events and parameter transmissions still need to access LVGL code. We need to access the controls to do a global explanation. In the code, we can make an access. In this video, we mainly show the desktop application of the display at a resolution of 800/480. For ordinary UI, generally, we only need the first level UI. Because currently these two development boards are a development board with the SP3 to S3 as the core module. Its own resources are relatively limited. Generally, the two-level interface has reached its hardware limit. If you design a three-level interface, it may be very stuck. So for an operating system with limited hardware resources, it is best to use only one or two levels of interfaces to handle our interactions on the operating system interface. For example, we can add an icon directly to this taskbar. This icon is just for display. In fact, if you use it to introduce a submenu, the entire interface will become stuck. Maybe from the bottom level, we need to do a multi-threaded process. But the market is not suitable for this task. Multitasking is still difficult. So we recommend using a menu with two levels or less to handle some interactions in actual application scenarios. For example, we can directly in the taskbar add some interactive interfaces for the applications we need. In it, we can directly click on the taskbar to pop up. For example, our switch, including data displayed directly in the taskbar as an icon. Then click Pop-up. Just control it directly. For more complex tasks, you can display it directly on the desktop, because this desktop only serves as a display. It can also be used directly as an interactive interface for task processing. This is different from our mobile phones and computers, because the hardware of our phones and computers is great. Their hardware resources are very sufficient, so you can do a lot of complicated operations. and some development boards like ours with limited resources. We need to do some streamlining. Although we can do it beautifully, but still keep it simple. Make the most of limited resources. That's it for today's video. Thank you for watching.